Hello everybody, design-wise. It's good to see you all. We are still digesting, as I can see. So I hope more people are coming. Today we'll talk about a very important subject: how to develop good products/services, so the solutions as such, in a right way. In ethics, you speak a lot of how to build ethical products for users. Watching such subjects on YouTube, I've learned a lot about patterns, building bad habits, formation of bad habits. But still, we are not talking enough about whether we are building our products in an ethical way, and what is an ethical working environment and an ethical product design team. My first question, my favorite question to ask: is it difficult to build digital products today? Raise your hand if you think it is. It's about 50-50. You could say this question is not phrased correctly, it's not detailed enough. But we all want our favorite users to taste our product and be unable to set themselves free. We want to build smartly and valuable products with real value to the people. Is it easy? Is it easier to build software would be another question, and the answer would be yes. But product is not software, is it? Product is software that's in use and brings values to the users in a certain context. And there is also a value exchange with business, because business benefits from it. Okay. Another question. Are we building digital products in an ethical way at the moment? Who thinks yes? So, Software House says yes. It can be ethical too, but we'll get there. I love this answer because it's a kind of understanding of, on my side and your side, some team leaders and managers here, people responsible for product development or service development. I'm so glad to talk to you about it today. Let's start with the basics. So let's see what ethics is. Ethics is a set of norms accepted by a given community as a reference point for evaluation and regulation of conduct for the purposes of group integration around certain values. A lot of smart words. We can conclude that it's a set of rules, and our context will be building and development of digital services. So tell me, do we have such ethical norms to be applied? Maybe yes, maybe no, okay. I think we do. I think that recent years have provided us with some guidelines how to design such products, with whom and what for. Let me show you an example. There are two of them actually. There could be 5 books here. There are publications, and behind them there are wonderful people who inspire teams with their experience to build in a more ethical way. Here we've got sense and respond, continuous discovery habits. Everybody calls the principles differently, and the values we want to focus in our daily work, but they are very similar. So we are going to springboard from those 5 values named here. Why? Because, in my opinion, the answer to the previous question is no. We are not building our products and services in a completely ethical way. Sometimes we make it more difficult for ourselves. I used to be team leader and responsible for processes, and quite often I used to make mistakes. And probably all the mistakes we are talking about today are the mistakes that I have already made. So it doesn't make sense for you to make the same mistakes, so let's go through them and see if we can counteract. Marty Kagan, greetings to him. He's one of the evangelists of the product approach, where we focus on value. We want to provide good products and services, and he says there is a tremendous difference between how the best companies produce products and how most companies produce them. Let us see where we are standing. Okay, product development, digital development. That's what it should look like. We have a strategy, some vision for the product. Strategy, the black box we are all worried about, is a plan of how to get there and execute the strategy, and on that there are two modes of operations that need to communicate and constantly work together in order to talk about product development. On one side, we've got discovery, where we explore, we identify product chances, and we make decisions whether we want to build something or not. We are deciding based on the data collected from people, from users. And then we need discovery to use the validated ideas into the production mode, so delivery. So these building blocks of the process of product development is accurate. So that's building the product of digital service in process. If something's missing, we need to have the red flag raised, something wrong is happening. As I said before, we are going to focus on the principles. Most of us know Jeff. His books are very valuable, and his approach to product development. There are 5 principles he has defined as ethical way of building and developing products and services in teams. Let us see that. That's the pulse here and now. I'm going to have 3 data points, 3 places I can use. So first is my own experience. A lot of my fuck-ups on the way, I am going to mention some. Second thing, with my collaborator, for 2 days we have led product discovery workshops, helping many organizations, and we ask them question, what barriers in efficient product development are? And you can see over 200 people answered to that question, and I managed to collect that. And I'm going to show you how you yourself define problems, what language you use, and how you do that. And finally, we are going to bounce from some global Oracle, so the newest Product Insights report by Airtable. I use it daily, and there are some product insights inside that actually confirm that whatever is happening in Poland is happening all over the world. We are all taking part in this change as far as the teamwork ethic is concerned. So let's start with the basics, something that seems obvious, so being client-centric. We always say we are client-centric. We want to build based on deep understanding, deep empathy towards our users, help them in a certain context. And therefore, as a result, we can have a good business, but also create valuable products that stay in their heads and hearts for longer. But are we client-centric actually? When was the last time each of you talked to their users? I'm not talking about looking at data, reading feedback, but the actual conversation with the user. Was it a week ago? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago maybe? A month ago? When we are talking about being client-centric, and everybody talks about it now, let's be client-centric. Let's see what the participants of our workshops talk about it. A classic example, many of you come from software houses, technological companies, so it's a typical example. So the existing agenda is not user-centric, but customer-centric. Our clients come to us, pay money, so we take the project, we build up software. In software houses, you don't talk about product market fit because it's not needed at all. They are interesting subjects, but what we can see that something is wrong here. Top management making decisions without user context, another point. Let me guess, somebody from a larger company wrote that where the user is even further away from us, there are silos, certain teams that separate us from the marketing, sales, researchers. So we are getting further and further away from the user. The management is somewhere in the space actually. No access for end users. We are making a product, but how to get to the users, how to talk to them, they don't have time. We cannot really approach them, they are too important and valuable for business, so we cannot get into trouble with them. It is a big problem to gain such users. Another one, roadmap equals feature list. Show me your roadmap and I will tell you how to develop your products. If we can see a roadmap, there's easy a plan, feature list. Where is the user in the structure? Why aren't we focusing and executing certain needs of the user? Based on the canvas, we are building what we discover and then develop. Asymmetry between making money and solving user problems. No need to explain that. When we need to choose, I had the chance to work for an organization that was making millions in a month, but the NPS was 4. Product market fit survey and the other survey said average, match to the market. Stakeholders were pressurizing them about their patterns. Why don't we show to the user some banners and move them into external landing page? We can do that, and our user is not important here. I know it's happening in your company as well. Another one, anxiety of end user contact. We are scared of them. It's really abstract, highly abstract, because we are actually scared of talking to them. What if they say something that contradicts our assumptions? What's going to happen? What if our boss goes there and hears something different than assumed? Sometimes it's language and cultural barrier, and you can deal with that, but if it's not about operation but about the mindset, we are in trouble here. And we need to do something about it. Okay, quite quick insight. 58% of product team members don't have a strong understanding of product vision. What does it really mean? Or don't understand the vision. It means we don't know for whom and for what we are making the product. And it's a very strong signal and a very strong point. We are not client-centric, we are not even around that area. The question is whether each member of our product team, tech leads, designers, Q&As, researchers, do we all know what future we want to create for our client? Do we know? If we don't know why and for whom we are building the service or the product, so how are we client-centric? Something important now. To my mind, it's the key element that makes us do our job well or make it less valuable, even though the quality is still high. So focus on the right outcomes. Defining proper goals. So that's the stakeholders, management, team leaders' job. Negotiating the goals. Too often we work on such goals as setting up mobile app until the end of third quarter. Setting up feature scanning, like invoice scanning until Q1 2023. They are output goals. we should build something. We are not focusing on what? On the important thing, what we want to achieve. What should it do for the user, for our business? And this is the crucial thing here. Let's listen to our participants again. Of course, we've got vague business goals, product vision, expectation of instant results. Why do we even have product discovery or strategy? Let's release features, because that's how we show that we are productive. Because the deadlines are more important than the values. We have to stick to the deadlines and release whether it works or not. If you're worried nobody uses that, whatever, let's release that. Let's not check that. And then a half of the features in large organizations, the features that are developed is not used by users. Not only small startups, but the big players also get it wrong a lot of times because they don't use product discovery systems. We've got new tasks, new priorities all the time. We don't have any goals, we don't have objectives. We only have the info from stakeholder, we should build something, and that's it, and it's vague. How, what for. And the change is constant. I worked for such a company, it was Swedish, and we were building the second LinkedIn, and the vision of the product changed every 2 weeks. There were 8 product teams, there was product owner and analyst in every team. It was wonderful when everybody had to change everything every 2 weeks. Completely not understood, millions of euro just burned out. Does it make sense? No. I worked there for 2 years and so far they haven't started any products. So those problems are those you have seen or have experienced. Some kind of schizophrenia when setting goals. Make 3 goals at the same time. Why product team? Just a piece of a product or one module. You've got 3 goals, and in this quarter you have to have those 3 goals executed. Can you have impact on a given goal during 1 quarter, and you've got 3 of them? So the product team needs to have 1 goal to make it outcome in order to complete it. Unethically, we are setting goals and giving them more than they need to bear. And there is the typical methodology of OCR, and we love them to have more than 1 element. There are 3, 4, and then the team gets that and they need to do something about it. It's not easy whatsoever. What else? That's it. We've got all the most important stuff. Let's move on. Here's the support from Airtable. Big insight again. 53% of team members have high visibility into goals and objectives of their work. Conclusion? Half of us don't know what we are doing and why we are doing that. As my friend says, doesn't make sense. But still we are there and we need to fight for those goals as leaders and managers and people responsible for teams on the operational level in order to negotiate the goals and how to see whether the production goal is manageable or something that goes nowhere. Something about agility. We have all transformed into agility, but there's one little thing. The agile is beautiful and works only in the delivery area. Then we are really agile. We can complete parts, fragments of software in a good quality way, often, and to the market. We do it better or worse, but when we are talking about discovery, that should be constant study of searching, iteration, changing. That's much worse. When I ask somebody if you do discovery, then ask what's that, and then when I explain, yes, we are doing something similar, But do you have a process, a plan for that? No, it depends on the project. So there is no process behind it, like with delivery. And without a process, there are no habits to be formed in order to focus on those events in our daily work, daily lives. A strategy is somewhere at the back of your head, and there's constant dialogue between the areas. So we need continuous thinking, agile thinking, but in the entire space of product development. That's why we need a process that's going to make us discover and decide what to build before we build it. Because you must admit that verification of value, of feature, at production is not the fastest and the cheapest way. So, doesn't make sense. Let's see here. All procedures that require formalized approach. So an attempt to create product and services based on legacy from old design thinking and not product thinking. Feature factory. I think everybody knows that. We are talking about features, not functionalities, just features. We are talking about feature language, talk about features, stakeholders want features. Why are we talking about features and not about problems? And dealing with those that are the most important ones, and do it better than competition. Features, features, and features. We still have them in front of our eyes. We are a leader and something works. Why change anything? So the approach that is against change. So we want integrated and constant processes. Let's not be scared. So there is the anxiety of dead end. So the fear that if we do our job well, it can turn out we were wrong. That our beautiful new feature is not necessary, we don't want them, the users won't use that. And we know that at the stage of discovery. We don't need to build that and show it to our stakeholder to get some kind of bonus and then get it burned underground. So, not clear competence division. So, who is actually responsible for what? Who, why, what for? Somebody is looking for solutions, but we as a product team, taken as multidisciplinary team, can do more, can do a good job, and together we can develop strategic elements. As a team, we can also expect from our managers good goals, production goals. When we get a business goal, like increase monthly turnover, is it a good goal for the production team? Of course not. The product team doesn't have the power to obtain this goal. We have to think about what to do to affect our users in order to stay with us more often and don't give up on our subscriptions, for example. Or maybe do something else. We need to understand that the business goal is beyond us. It's the marketing, product, sales division. We need this goal, but the product team is the goal connected with the change of behavior. Some key matrices that are important to us. So, because that's how we affect the users, and the users affect the business. So business goals, that's too much. Let us take a look what we've got at Airtable report. 90% of teams still find at least one stage of the product development lifecycle highly challenging. It's difficult for them, it's a challenge. It's good it's defined here. Let us see it's working here. Strategy and discovery is the area with the majority of question marks. And of course, research and data make us kind of tame that in order to provide quality and value. A little bit about collaboration. It's in Poland this word doesn't connote well, but cooperation. In one company, we sometimes work in silos. We've got research team, design team, product team. Everybody goes their way, they have their own goals. Can we build any valuable product in such an environment? No. Can we collaborate if we have different goals? Doesn't make sense again. Something's wrong here. That's why we need the actual cooperation, common goal, common space and common time. So we need processes at work. We need to define them. So what have we got here? What are the pains of the participants of our workshops? Working on product discovery alone is one of my favorites. Usually that honor is given to a designer, and he or she themselves are trying to deal with that. It's not their task, singular task. They need partners in order to bounce their thoughts. Need for closer collaboration of product department and researchers. So we are not treating a designer as a member of a team, but a person who comes from the outside and helps us. Again, why cannot this person have the same goal as I do? Why the designer or researcher shouldn't work day in, day out with us on the process? For example, in 6-week discovery sprints, that's how we should start our fun with service development. Hippo, everybody knows what it's all about. So a great challenge of our stakeholders' challenge, especially in older companies, is difficult. It's really tedious, step by step, but it's not a leap. It's a small step, tiptoeing. Fear of failure. Let's not even meet up and work together, because if we do, our pieces will complete it faster. Let's not think about the outcome, the result, but the feature will be made faster. So why collaborate? Why get tired over it? And again, global data. Only 30% of team members report having very high autonomy. And without autonomy, there is no collaboration. There is no trust in product development. There are no results, because product development is not a process, one-to-one process. It's art. It's craft and it's art. And it always looks differently and works differently. Without autonomy, our hands are tied. The restriction to our autonomy are bad product goals that we hug in so tightly every quarter. 13% of team members with low autonomy declare to be highly engaged at work. So we can conclude that the majority of those people who have little autonomy are not really engaged in work. They should come there, deliver. Nobody cares whether they know why and what for. There is no thinking behind it. So why collaboration? Why cooperation? In order for us to learn. We should learn. The development of digital products delivery is really empirical. We've got some development velocity, and we really want to build more, faster and better. That's where discovery comes in, learning velocity. In 6 weeks, are we able to learn anything so that we can make informed decisions? And we can do that, let's face that. So let's take a look about learning. So no validation, testing, analysis. Everybody knows everything about research, user research, individual interviews. Today we had a lecture about how to ask questions and not suggest anything, but have you seen experiments? Any results of validation tests or on any feature necessary to the user? It doesn't exist in nature, does it? And we need behavioral data directly from the users in order to make a decision whether something is going to catch on or not. Why should we trust opinions? when we can chat that. There is no failure culture. We are worried, we are scared, we don't want to make mistakes because our fantastic school had taught us for 17 years that mistakes are wrong and you avoid them at any cost, and otherwise you're punished. No conclusions drawn, and we all actually should. We don't have the sense of security, openness to mistakes, that we stick to the bubble of our own convictions because it's safer and better. We don't deliver the value to the market. We are not honest with ourselves, and what about with the user? So the anxiety against testing a given strategy. Let's say we are making a bot to recommend perfect clubs, good beer in Krakow, like tonight. We can build that bot because we think it's a good idea. We can test that quickly, make fake ads, some matrix, mock-up, see people click on it, are interested to see how it should work, have 3 versions ready, conduct user flow. In 3 weeks, we can actually make a decision, and when we hit the dead end, we go high fives, let's not go there. We have just saved a lot of money and work of our development team. And it's the opposite. And they say, it's been 3 weeks and there is nothing out of it. It's important to do discovery, to understand there are dead ends, and it's normal in our work. In this chaos, there need to be, and we cannot really do anything about it. 24% says it's very easy to access the information they need to do their work from self-serve tools and resources. It's not much, is it? 24%. So the rest of guys have bigger or smaller problem even checking what personas are, what's the retention of our product last month, what the trend has changed in reference to previous months. They don't have tools and don't have access. So when do we speak about the learning culture if globally it's challenged? I'm talking about it because I really care for us to build in a wiser, smarter way. We are trying to change that in Poland, and slowly there are some results. So the key takeaways I would like to give you is that how you develop your product or service matters. We can do it ethically regarding our team as leaders. We can do it ethically as team members regarding other team members, but the principles that were established and now daily we verify them positively. Medium webinars in the cases you can see it's all positively verified, and still we are procrastinating before we take a step in a good direction. We need to improve efficiency in building features. We need the space, and we have the right to ethical space and working conditions for working on product development. And I've got a few steps that we recommend to be taken. Every change takes time. Every change takes efforts, psychological, operational barriers, but we need to do it step by step. It's not about becoming cozy with a new model, but to lean on it slowly. Do whatever you can to have a weekly contact with your user or every 2 weeks. Let's say Thursday 10 till 12 there's a slot for individual interviews with our users. Believe me, there will always be a goal. There will always be a goal to talk to people about their past, about what they have experienced, how their experience is, how much it meant to us, how they talk about the problems, what jobs are to be done in a given context. It's very important to do that because it changes things, maybe not for you, because you do take a part in such talks, but to your product designers who are excluded from such conversations, for your developer team members Maybe they can be engaged or interested in how we talk to this person because it changes a lot for them as well. What else can we do? 2022 and we are still following chaos in product and service development. Let's not do that. Let's require from our managers some strategic input, proper goals, but also from ourselves working in processes that are structured, in delivery, in discovery. It makes sense, there are stages, we know what happens when and how we finish and what we finish with. The chaos is not needed here. Let's gather our team. We need a team. Because on our own, we are actually prone to any kind of cognitive bias possible. We work slower, we are tired, and sometimes we just want to move on and get any solution that might or might not work. So it's good to work with a team. We want to develop the culture and the ethical space where we develop our services and products. And finally, as far as decisions are concerned, I recommend using data, for making better product decisions. They can be qualitative data. Discovery should be fast, should be using signals from people and not from our stakeholders or our own ideas in the room. So, like use the RISE method, right? And which one seems the best, and let's make a decision. We need behavioral data in order to make a decision and verify the more risky assumptions about a given idea. And finally, let's not be scared of failure, because we need failures. We learn the most from failures, and then we just twist and turn. In discovery, in any kind of development, in our teamwork, we need failures in order to draw conclusions fast and iterate. Iterate again. Iterate the discovery process, how we measure value for the users. All that is in your hands, in your two hands, because I do believe that this power exists with the builders. It's in you. There used to be a beautiful icon, but there's a question mark. Remember, you're not alone. There are many of us, luckily. It's good to become inspired from those smart heads. Greetings to the president, because we are not alone. It will come to us whether we like it or not, so we can as well open up and be in the top 5% of managers and IT professionals that have the knowledge and awareness, and thereby they are more competitive for their own career on the market. Thank you so much. Michał Reda. Are there any questions? I love questions. The most difficult question today gets a beer for you tonight. Anybody? Any questions? Hello, thank you for your presentation. I'm very interested in the part connected with the fear of failure. So what strategy would you recommend talking to decision makers who spend money for the project? How to explain to them that in a limited budget we can make mistakes and to learn from mistakes, not to hear that it was a mistake to hire us. It's a very good question, an important question. Our stakeholders, bosses, want to achieve certain business results. That's the key thing for them, and it's obvious here. Our job is to do the reverse engineering and explain to them that in order to make this, subscription revenue, for example, we have to do something with the user to make them more willing, more often pick the paid version of the account and return, and we have to prove to them that it's actually connecting tubes. So the usability of product will be connected with the turnover marker. So we've got the time taken from the users, we've got productivity gain, so B2B world, all B2B tools, and there we want to help somebody do something more efficiently, easier, faster, cheaper, and transactional game, where there's a client who wants to buy something painlessly and leave. And if we are able to explain that to stakeholders simply, that user behavior actually underlines their business goals, it's the best way. And you have to do that slowly. I would combine this kind of strategic conversation with one or two individual user interviews and just open their heads a little step by step. I have had a chance to do some transformation in one company, and after 7 months I was released from the company because I did it in a very black and white manner, and it turned out it was very difficult. Fast is not the best way. We need to go step by step because you need to familiarize with the idea of people from other departments and not go against them. We can talk about it a little bit more individually if you wish. The beer goes to you because you're the only person who asked the question so far. What arguments do you use or recommend to convince the team to systemize their work, implement processes? You know what? When we are showing what discovery works like and what is it for, you don't need to convince anybody. They want it, they just ask you how to do that, and then you give them a 6 weeks planner with 3 areas, building blocks, and now design your own discovery process. 15 minutes and it's done during the workshops. You can do it fast. Of course, it's the first plan. It's going to have 5 versions after iteration, but it can be done fast. The question is whether we want to, but the teams know they want to. They ask how to do that. Michał Reda.